Well, I think that the political agenda of white liberals has really woken up sleeping giants, not just in the North LA County area where there are many Armenian American families, but also yesterday, the same day where there was a clash in LA, there was also a very large similar protest by largely Muslim families in Montgomery County, Maryland, also over the same issue of parents largely of immigrant backgrounds feeling now that their voices over whatever their values are for their children are not being respected.
Okay, folks, here we go. It looks like we are starting to see a little bit of the intersectionality of the American left fall apart. And I got to tell you, I love it. I'm here for it. And I am really enjoying the idea that these individuals on the left are now going to have to actually deal with the problems that they have helped create. And what I mean by the intersectionality of this, and we've seen this already, is we are watching as parents have truly had enough of the nonsense coming from the left with their LGBTQ stuff. And certain segments of the left are now speaking out against them. There's an example in Glendale, California, of all places. That's right, Glendale, California, of all places. We are watching as there's a fight in the street. Yeah, at a school board meeting, because the Armenian Muslims are tired of the LGBTQ nonsense going on in their kids' schools. They're saying, leave them alone. Now, News Nation, which employs Dan Abrams and Chris Cuomo, I think Dan Abrams actually owns it, but whatever. They're going to take a pretty slanted position on this, and it's almost like, what's the big deal? But the story itself is still important. Check this out.
Things got ugly in Glendale, California. A new video this morning showing people fighting and brawling. There are a lot of parents here outside of this school board meeting in California. One side there to support a resolution recognizing June as Pride Month and incorporate curriculum about the LGBTQ plus community.
By the way, that side was Antifa, just so you know. Antifa was the side that was there. That's why you see masks. And that's why you're seeing glasses and people hiding their faces in the middle of this fight. So just part of the intersectionality of the left is Antifa. Just remember that for just a second.
The other side, a lot of families protesting the school district's choice in policies. Nick is here to walk us through what happened. Nick.
And Kelly, Adrian, you could see that crowd at one point outnumbered the number of law enforcement officers there. At least 3 people were arrested following those altercations outside Los Angeles. While the fighting forced school board members to pause their hearing, they unanimously approved recognizing June as Pride Month, which it has done for the last 4 years. This video shows some of the 500 or so people who came out on both sides of the issue. You can see how the two sides are mostly separated by barriers with officers standing between them. In the background, you can see a group of people waiting to get in so they could speak during the public comments. It's not clear what led up to this confrontation on a nearby street, where you can see one side rush the other, followed by fighting. Police say most demonstrators were peaceful, with only a small group acting dangerously. Now,
by the way, one side rushing the other, without having to be told what side actually started this. But you'll see if you're watching the videos, and there's been other videos, the Armenians held their own pretty well here because they're tired of this. They're sick and tired of this, as most parents are. Now, this reporter said, you got to remember, this has been approved for years in the past. Correct. Nobody cares about Pride Month existing. That is not the problem. It's the overt sexuality that is taking place in our school systems now that wasn't taking place before. This is not hard to figure out. It's about the kids. And it's ginning all of this up, the drag shows, all this stuff. And now they're going to try to pretend that, there's no big deal here. This is just normal stuff. It ain't.
Now, officers declared an unlawful assembly, ordering everyone to leave the area. Advocates point out some of the curriculum is required by state law and highlights lessons on diversity and contributions of LGBTQ plus leaders.
Nobody is talking about that stuff. You do understand that? Nobody cares. You can talk about LGBTQ people. You can talk about all that stuff. No one's talking about that. What we're talking about, and we've all been very clear, is the overt sexuality, the gender nonconformity stuff, and the critical race theory. That's what's firing up parents. And the media can pretend they don't understand this all you want, but why would we listen to anything you say if you tell us you don't understand?
But other parents say they want more transparency and more options to opt out.
No one's handing us a curriculum and saying you have to teach kids to be gay. Like, I don't even understand. I don't think they know what they're talking about.
No one said that. No one said you guys are being given curriculums that turn the kids gay. So again, the defense from these people of their behavior is always to pretend they don't understand what anyone's upset about, which goes to show you they don't really care what people are saying to them. They're going to keep doing whatever it is they're doing because they don't understand what you're actually mad about. But telling me you don't understand what my problem is doesn't really give me much hope that you're going to understand how to fix it. And they don't really care about that either.
And we don't have any prescribed LGBTQ plus curriculum. We just don't leave gay people out of the equation.
We're talking about children. We're not ready for such choices. It confuses them. And ultimately, these are things that parents should decide.
Now, the issue at play in Glendale highlights new exclusive polling that News Nation has with our partners at Decision Desk HQ. A new poll finds 26% of respondents believe the State Board of Education should have the final say on what is taught in public schools, while 25% say parents should. The results are mostly divided by party line, with most Republican and independent saying parents should have the final say, while most Democrats side with education officials or teachers. Now, Adrienne Kelly, Glendale Unified School District did release a 6-page handout that details what sort of topics can and cannot be taught in the classroom and those circumstances that parents can indeed have their children opt out.
So I love this, actually. This is actually pretty great. If you think about this, the poll they just showed, which I want to go back to, is actually pretty amazing. And they talked about this in the sense that they said, wait a second, well, it's divided politically. With those on the left thinking the government should raise your kid, and those on the right saying you should raise your kid. And independents breaking with parents. It's an interesting piece of information. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. It is up to the parents. The parents get a say. They get a say when it comes to the State Board of Education, the local Board of Education, and dealing with their individual children. If they don't like what's going on in their kids' school, they have a right to say something about it. They don't get to dictate curriculum here and there, but stop telling them they don't know what they're talking about. And by the way, the left loves government when they control it. When they don't control it, they hate it. Go back to the Trump years. Go look at DeSantis right now. See what those people are saying about government control as we speak. They are not too excited about that at all. And, this whole thing, we're not doing anything, we're not teaching anything crazy. Well, at this school board meeting, a teacher stood up. And that teacher said, oh, well, there's nothing crazy going on here. There's nothing nutty going on here. Well, let me show you the something crazy going on here. And let me show you the something nutty going on here. Because, yeah, it is happening.
Hi, my name is Adina.
Yes, and I called your name, yes?
Yes.
Yes, go for it.
Yes, I'm a teacher in the district. I also teach in LUSD. I have 2 students in the district. I did intervention at Fremont, but I'm also a community member who volunteers extensively in Watts in South LA, and I work at the Children's Hospital Los Angeles with queer and trans youth in large groups. And so I deal with a lot of their trauma.
Love the snapping. The snapping is my favorite part. It means they agree that it's good that she works with trans youth. Okay.
Related to the heteronormative, Judeo-Christian, patriarchal, imperialist, capitalist system that oppresses them. And so, why critical race theory? I'm not just here in support of our LGBTQ youth, it's all connected. I'm in support of critical race theory and diversity, inclusion, equity training, because White people participated, for example, in the largest social welfare program in the history of the United States, and yet now they throw their hands up in the air when we look at our housing crisis. And Armenians talk about the genocide, but they received SSI, but they don't want to talk about the indigenous genocide of 1850 and the lack of reparations for Black and indigenous people in this country. And they don't want to talk about how dare you as marginalized people come here and you don't want to talk about the oppressed trans youth who, your kids aren't even learning what they need to learn in this. That 1 in 2 will attempt suicide, and 95% know that they are trans when they are 3, 4, and 5 years old.
Yikes! A lot going on there. Nice to take a shot at the Armenians there. I wonder how this all went down. Why everyone got upset, but they took a shot at the Armenians as if they were not showing enough respect to the trans kids and the Black and brown and all these other things. Look, that woman's crazy. Capitalism, Judeo-Christian values, all these things that in reality make America great, they're the real problem because trans kids. Now, she gave out some numbers here, and it's the you better give us what we want or we'll commit suicide numbers, and it is saying that 1 in 2 will attempt suicide. Well, let me just tell you something. That's a threat, and it's a threat being made by mentally ill people. And suicidal ideation actually increases as they plant these seeds inside people's heads. There's not a trans genocide going on, and people actually try to commit suicide at a higher rate after they transition. These people know this stuff, and they don't care. Countries in Europe are getting away from the transition stuff because they know it doesn't work. It's harmful. And here we are, listening to this situation take place in Glendale, California, of all places. Hardly a Republican stronghold. It's a situation where we are watching the American people say enough is enough, and that fight is bigger than just the normal left than right fight. There are people who care about kids, and then there are people that want to cut off parts of them, or cut off parts of them and then put them on somewhere else in order to make them feel like they are their true gender. They call that gender-affirming care. It's not gender-affirming care. You're already a gender. If you're affirming that, you're telling them, no, you are not going to switch genders. You're going to stay the gender you are. We're going to work through this. Instead of telling people when they are 3 and 4 years old that they know what gender they actually are. It's just absolutely insane. They're children. And the studies show they will grow out of it if you do not give in to this. But that's not going to stop these people. The fight has gone on too far. And now we will have a segment in this society that will forever believe and push the idea of transgender ideology. Whether or not it makes any sense or not, whether it's backed up by science or not, they will just declare that it is. But the people are tired of this. They are starting to speak out. School boards, corporations, etc. are learning this lesson. And you know what? We just got to keep pushing.